On one night alone, I was doing a bit of messing on the street, as we all do, and I took chase by the cops and lost him. That was fine. And someone turned around, they were like, "It's because your car's all modified, it's outlawed." All I could see was the back headlights through the grass, so the grass was like growing over the car.
Oh no.
And I was like, "Jimmy?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What's that?" And he was like, "Oh, that's the RX8." And I was like, "You have an RX8? Why do you have an RX8?" And he was like, "Now I have this kind of thing in my head where I want to have it on the outside looking like a 20 valve Jap import, and when you start it up, it's a ducted diesel." And everyone's just like,
That's gonna be sick.
"Yeah."
That's awesome.
You know, again, it's something that turns heads. It turns.
Yeah, something different at the end of the day, right?
And it's an icebreaker.
Awesome.
And the seller goes, "I'm living here 15 years. I have never ever seen the cars go down this road. You're here about a half an hour, and I have cars creeping up and down my road."
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Dare to Drive podcast. We have a very special guest today, all the way from Ireland, which is Outlaw Carz. So say what's up.
Well, how are things, Pete?
Everything's
glad
great.
glad to be on. I've actually been looking forward to this.
Yeah,
So
same
it's
here.
so I really appreciate the opportunity.
Most definitely. But yeah, today we're going to get to know a little bit about his story. Again, all the way from Ireland. We want to get the little inside scoop of how the car scene is in Europe over there too. So we want to get to know everything pretty much. So we'll have a little conversation. So I hope you go enjoy. But yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do with Outlaw Carz and everything like that?
So Outlaw Carz was started back in 2015 by me and another friend of mine who's still part owner or part I don't know how you'd say, yeah, I suppose part owners.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're involved in the car scene a long time. There was different clubs, like Midnight Club, and there was After Dark Cruisers, all this, and you
Yeah.
meet up in a car park and whatever. And we didn't like the way things were clicky. I don't know, kind of you pull up, people kind of stare at you and don't talk to you. And
Yeah.
you know yourself, when you go to a car meet, it's all about enjoying yourself and getting inspiration, one thing, and then getting to know people, and things develop from there. So me and Carl, we were going to these car meets. That's how we actually met, through, just as we say here in Ireland, through the banter, having fun at these
Nice.
car meets. And we kind of agreed on, we kind of don't like the way things are. Like, we just kind of want to do our own thing and be welcoming to everyone. Like, so we kind of toyed with the idea of, like, oh, what's a catchy name? And on one night alone, I was doing a bit of messing on the street, as we all do, and I took chase by the cops and lost him. That was fine. And someone turned around, they were like, "It's because your car's all modified, it's outlawed." And I kind of looked at him. So our original name actually was Outlaw Car Enthusiasts. So we kind
Okay.
of wanted to blend society's way of viewing us and what we actually are. At the end of the
Right.
day, we're all car enthusiasts. Like, that's how you and me met, through cars. I've met countless people. Like, the amount of people like, my friendship base is on cars alone. I have a few friends outside of the car scene,
Mhm.
but like, my majority is cars. Like, even my own wedding, all my groomsmen they were all car related, like car
Awesome.
mad, car related. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So we kind of grew it as Outlaw Cars Enthusiasts, to kind of say, like, our cars might be outlawed to you, but to us, it's a passion, it's a hobby, it's a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Um, that's the thing. So it developed with two, and then there was one of our sponsors, and I said I'd give him a shout out on your podcast, is Nods Tires.
Okay, sweet.
He's one of our biggest sponsors.
That's awesome.
So he starts. So he kind of again never knew this guy. He hits us on the page. I think he was
Mhm.
like our first like, and then he just he'd always amp us up, like sharing stuff and everything. And he was. It kind of went from two, three to like where we have seven guys that are. We've literally gone to car shows together. We do car runs together.
Nice.
Um, and then that's where I kind of went, okay, we need to rebrand because saying
Mhm.
Outlaw Cars Enthusiasts is such a mouthful,
Right.
and especially here in Ireland, it's when you have a country accent like I do, and you're talking to a city person, and you're like, what's the name of your club? Outlaw Car. You're
Little
kind of
right.
you're like a 20 valve off the limiter, like you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so then um I kind of brainstormed one night and I just liked this idea of it was just Outlaw Cars with a Z, just to be
Mhm.
catchy. And the one thing I'm noticing over maybe the last 2 years, the amount of other people they have profiles called, like Ollie's Cars or
Mhm.
Tommy's Cars. There's all these Z's, like, and I'm just kind of like, I was the first with that. Well, I might not have
Yeah,
been the
yeah.
first ever because I think I got inspiration from somewhere in Canada or something. I seen something like a YouTube video, and it was something cars with a Z, and I was like,
Okay.
Jesus, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
So
something
we
a little different.
rebranded.
Nice.
It's a little different, yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
nice and short, like,
Mhm.
and so then that's where we rebranded back in 2019 to Outlaw Cars, and it just kind of developed. We went to more shows, we did more runs. We kind of do our own thing. We don't do the status quo here is parking up in car parks, key banging IS 200s, and
Mm.
just drawing
Yeah.
trouble on ourselves. So we rather go off, do a day run. Like I think the last day run we done was back in 2020. We had 15 cars. We'll say we're going to it. 62 cars turned up to it. We
Oh,
filled out
wow.
a whole petrol station. I'll actually show you the picture, or I'll send you the picture.
Yeah,
Was
yeah, definitely.
this whole filling station was just packed out with cars. There was cars
Wow,
coming
that's
in from
awesome.
everywhere,
Yeah.
and we were like, "Oh, right, okay, we need to." Right, let's just go with the flow and hope for the best. And we
Yep.
had a great day. Everyone took off. We went up around the coast, pulled into a couple of spots, took a few
Mhm.
pictures. I went around chatting to people, um, and then they were like, "When are you doing another run?" And I was like, "Oh, we're already doing one this year." And then it was like, "Okay, let's do another run." So we did. Uh, we did the course run, we did the hill run, and then we said one night a gang of us. It was like a private thing. If you wanted to join, no problem, but you had to message me and uh, we get together. We did like a night run, so we met up at like 1 in the morning, and I just kept driving.
Okay, sweet.
Like I had all these people following me, like, and I was
Yeah.
just like, people were like, where are we going? And I was like, oh, we're just going up here now, and there's another road, it's better road, and like my wife was saying to me, like, she's like, where are we going? I was like, I haven't a clue. We just keep driving. We keep driving till we see the sunset, the
Yeah.
sunrise, and then we're over. So,
Nice.
um,
That's
but like
awesome.
we do the car shows in are the biggest thing. So we do once a year. We have Jaff Fest here in Ireland. It usually is on at the end of the year, so it's like the main closer on the car scene or the car season here in Ireland. Um, and we've been going to it for years. Like even before Outlaw, I was going to it with my own cars. So then every year to have a car stand on show and have an Outlaw, it's like every year it just develops more
Yeah.
and more. And as you've seen the pictures from before I came over to America in
Mhm.
October, we had the RX8
Mhm.
that we stickered up, and it was just for me that was kind of like okay, we're kind of we're getting up there, it's
Yeah.
it's 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 great, like, and um
That's awesome.
so yeah, that's pretty much the history of Outlaw. It started out of nothing, and it's still it's getting there. It's
Mm.
like I have ideas, like, and as you know, idiots with engines, which
Yeah,
is the
yeah, I've
off
seen
brand
that. Mhm.
to Outlaw Cars. So like again, that was started with another friend of mine that joined Outlaw. And again, the two of us just brainstorming over a few pints one night, um, kind of saying, what can we do? because he's mad into cars. He's the one that's actually doing the E30 with the SR20 build I was telling you about.
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
Um,
Nice.
so I was like, I really want to do YouTube, and the rest of the guys are nah, they don't want to do anything in front of the camera. And I'm like, I really want to document it. I kind of want to just put things out there the way I see it, so everyone else can see it and develop from that. And he was like, "Oh, idiots with engines," and I was like, That's a great name, like." Because it is exactly what it says on the tin. Like we
Yeah,
have so many engines, we have so many projects, and we still go off and we buy something else, and
right.
like we'll have all the other projects, and it's like I'll get around to them
Eventually, we'll
I,
get around to
eventually,
it.
and then the car gets put into that category, and
Right.
you're just. But again, it I like filmmaking. I think that's why like you and me became very good friends over
Mhm.
photography and stuff, and I love taking pictures. I love filmmaking, and I love going out shooting a video and editing. So to be able to put Outlaw Cars and Idiots Within and kind of what I love and what I like doing and what I enjoy doing, and I still get to build cars, I still get to mess around with cars. It's a if I could do it on a professional level and get paid for it, I'd be so happy.
Right. Yeah, that's the goal right there at the end of the day for most people. That's awesome though. I mean, yeah, let's go back when you were younger too. Like what initially got you into cars in general?
Um, that's that's a topic that has been discussed many a time
Mhm.
because I don't come from a car family, as in my none of my family are mad into cars. Like my father was mad. My dad was mad into scooters when he was younger,
Okay.
but like nothing on the professional level that I am. Will say nothing on the level I am. He's just like we sat like he's all my dad. He's not into cars.
Mhm.
He thinks half the time they're a waste of time. But then we could sit for hours and talk about the Ford Cortinas, Escorts, the Sierras, the old Toyotas, the old Nissans,
Mhm.
oh, the old Rovers, because he grew up in England and that was the big thing, the GTI Golfs and
Okay.
everything.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
we could speak for hours on that.
Awesome.
And um, when I was younger, I just got attracted to cars when I was as soon as I could walk, and he brought me down to a car show in England. We were living in England. He was working there at the time. We were living in the UK, and he brought me to this car show, and I just the smell of petrol, uh, just cars revving, cars driving by, and I was just mesmerized by it.
Mhm.
And he kind of went, okay, well, if that's what he's into, then let's let's uh, let's just run with it. So I was into rally. I got into rally when I was younger.
Okay,
So
nice.
he'd bring me to rallies around where we lived. There was a local one on once a year in Kerry.
Mhm.
So I'd have him walking up at like 5 in the morning, and I'd be like, "We have to go to this stage, and we have to go to this stage," and bring him down to the services and walk around all the cars.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he again, like he didn't have the passion or the drive, we'll say,
Mhm.
but he it was a way of connecting. And I think for him and my grandmother, they they kind of pushed me towards it. They kind of said like, if that's what you want to do, fine. So I think like the first biggest thing my father got me was he bought me this old car. It was Peugeot. It was a Peugeot 106,
Okay.
little 1.1 liter for the
Oh wow.
field
Yeah.
to go on the field. And I was staying with my grandmother at the time, and my father had to go away to Germany working. So this was kind of the fob off gift. Like, I have to
Right.
go away working, behave
Mhm.
yourself. Here's a car. So I was in my element, and next thing is about a week, 2 weeks later, the father rings the grandmother and says, "Well, how's the young fella getting on? And she says, oh, he's grand. He's outside messing with the car. Why? What's he doing? Well, he has the whole front end of it. And I was like, why? Did he crash it? No, he just wants to see if he can take it off.
Right.
And yeah, just it developed from there of doing brakes to wiring in a radio. Again, that was one thing my father could show me because he could wire in radios.
Mm-hmm.
Like take out the standard radio, put in a CD player,
Right.
and
Right.
wire that to work. Um, to just kind of going mad and putting on just kind of anything to kind of get my fix on. Like I'd work on the grandmother's car, the uncle's car, the cousin's car, be servicing. So by the time
Nice.
I was like 14, 15, I had my own little tool set, little toolbox. I had my spanners and my few little sockets, and I
Cool.
thought I
Cool.
was, you know, the big I am. Like, you have a problem with your car, I'll fix it. Don't worry, I'll have a look at it.
Nice.
So yeah, it just developed from there to just uh, getting older, getting my own money, getting faster cars, and of course, as soon
Yeah.
as I went on the road, um, they were just like, "Yeah, he's gonna kill himself. This is inevitable. Like he's gonna like speeding around the place. When you're first on the road, you know yourself. You think you're Michael Schumacher. You just go nuts. Like, um, I think like the first year I had my license, I think I was in court twice for speeding.
Oh no.
Um, then I think in the end up um, uh, a sergeant, which would be the guards here, the police,
Okay.
came to my grandmother and was just like, "Tell him to slow down, will you? Like, just tell him to slow down." So I don't know if you ever heard of the Irish mammy or the Irish grandmother giving out, but if they give out, they pull out a wooden spoon.
Hmm.
You know you're in trouble. You know you're in trouble.
Oh
Like
no.
someone could be standing beside him and they could pull a gun out and you would not be afraid. But if the grandmother or the mother pulls out the wooden spoon, I mean, you are there. You're blessing yourself and you're ready to meet your maker.
Oh no. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, you said your first car was the little 1.1 liter, right?
Yeah, so that was a field car.
Okay.
So that wasn't actually. Yeah, that was a field car. That was
Okay.
for just doing handbrakes and
Okay.
driving around the field, just
Okay.
flying around the place like at my own little racetrack, if you will.
Okay, sweet. I mean,
Um,
what was your first actual car then? Like the one that you got tickets
so
in and everything?
my first actual car. How it goes is I wanted I wanted a fast car and I
Mm,
wanted a car. It didn't have to be fast, but it had to be a certain car. So over here, very popular is Toyota Corollas.
mm,
They're
mhm.
the AE 100s, or we call them E10s.
Okay, yeah.
So they're like a hatchback,
Mhm.
and there's 1.3, 1.6, 1.8, and I wanted the 1.6 20 valve blacktop. That was what I wanted. I didn't care. I was like, I'll do anything. Now, here's the problem. The car cost about 4 grand.
Okay.
No problem.
Mhm.
Got the car. Happy out. Delighted. I have the car. Uh, Rang the insurance company. And this is
Mm.
the big thing. So I rang the insurance company and they were like, what you have? And I was like, Toyota Corolla E10. And they were like, yeah, no problem. What's the reg? Give them the reg. Oh, that's a Jap import. All right, yeah, yeah. I didn't know that. And they're like, yeah, that's going to cost you 6,000 euros.
Oh no.
And I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
no, you can't do this to me. Like, it's a, um, so with a uh, bit of fiddling and a bit of this anyway, we were able to get a different logbook, and we did a bit of I don't know, a bit of mob skimming, as you'd say.
Yeah.
Uh, kind of cook the books a bit, make it
Okay.
look like. So we changed out the logbook, so it was actually a 1.3 on the logbook.
Okay, yeah.
So we changed the reg and stuff, and got it insured for like I think it was like nearly €3,000,
Okay.
which
It's
was
not
a
bad.
lot of money for
But yeah.
a 17-year-old
Yeah, at the time.
on a permit. Like, so that was my first car. And again, I've always had a love for Corollas. They're absolutely uh, like I even still own one that I ended up buying back,
Amazing.
and that I'm restoring, like
Okay.
fully restoring.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
and again, like I think again, my grandmother was behind that because she
Mhm.
originally owned the car when it was brand new back in 1994.
Okay.
She sold it on. It went on a little journey for a few years, and back in 2013, sorry, late 2013, I was in buying another car somewhere in Kerry, and I see this thing parking out, and I was like, "Oh, that's a Corolla," and they were like, "Yeah," I was like, "Will you sell it?" And they were like, "No." I was like, "I have cash. Will you sell it?" And
Mhm.
here in Ireland, if you've cash, you can buy anyone or anything. Like,
No, yeah.
so I ended up buying it there and then, but it had like a 20 valve kit. It had so it
Mhm.
was 2 liter diesel,
Okay.
but it had the 20 valve kit on it, with the fogs and everything. That's all Japanese extras, like.
Right,
So
right.
I was loving it. I was like,
That's
this is
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Um, Drove it down to my grandmother, and she was looking at it, and she says, "Oh, it is white, like it's a white van, like my old one." And I went, "Yeah, but it's not the same. It's a different one."
Mhm.
And she was like, looks at the reg, and she goes,
That looks
"No,
familiar.
yeah, that's mine." And I was like,
Oh, wow.
"No, it's not." I was like, and like my grandmother at the time, she was 76, and like don't get me wrong, I absolutely adored my grandmother when she was alive. Like she was
Mhm.
mad, but she kind of had these mad fits, like, and you were like,
Mhm.
"Man,
Mhm.
it's not your car. It's the same. It's the same year. It's
Right.
white, but it's not." So she went off anyway, and um, I was doing something else. I can't remember the next day, and she
Mhm.
comes out with like a picture, and it's a picture of me standing beside it in '94
Oh,
when I was
wow.
a little boy.
Right.
So the reg is 94C 17721,
Mhm.
and the reg
Wow.
is so
That's wild.
so yeah, like instantly we were like, um for me, I was at the time I was like, that's kind of cool. I like that. That's kind of class.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
my grandmother had seen me go through uh, so many cars. Like she seen me have Altezas, she seen me have up, 180s, Corollas, Subarus. Like she seen me, like I swapped a Subaru, or I swapped a Civic for a Subaru one time.
Mhm.
Drove it down from Dublin to Kerry, which is like a 4 hour drive.
Oh,
And by
wow.
the time I drove it down, I just didn't like it. I didn't I was like, nah, put up for swaps. I ended up swapping it. Like I literally owned it for 4 hours, and I swapped
Wow.
it out for something else. Like, so she had seen me go through so many cars,
Right.
and she was like, "What are you going to do with this car?" And I was like, "Oh, there's a few bits to do to it. I'm going to respray it, and I'm going to sell it on maybe when I have my fun." And I kind of held on to it. But fast forward about a year later, she died, and that's where I was like, I'm not selling it. I don't care. That car will never ever go to anyone else.
Yeah.
And so then about 2 years ago, I had it parked in the corner of the yard here because
Mhm.
I was using it as a daily up to a point, and then I was like, I was getting scared someone might crash into it,
Yeah.
or I might crash it, or something might happen, and
Mhm.
it won't be repairable. So I parked it inside in the corner of my yard, and I was like, it can stay there, and I'll get around to restoring it at some time.
Mhm.
And about 2 years, or 2020, I went out and there was a bit of rust here, and I was like,
Ooh.
well, I better fix that.
Yeah.
So I welded that, and then, oh no, there's another little bit of rust here, and now we're down to a full strip down. Um, new quarter panels gone into it, new subframe.
Nice.
Uh, so I said I'd keep it. I'll do my own twist on it. Um, kind of my own color. I have a couple of little twist. So it's not original, but it has original parts.
Right.
Like so, the 20 valve. If you ever check out the 20 valve FX GT, that's
Okay.
the that's the kit I have. So it's from the factory, and I have the boot door reflectors and stuff like that. So yeah, so really, yeah, that's so Corollas would have been my first love
Nice.
um for cars, and then it just yeah it went crazy then for a few years.
Nice. That's awesome for sure. I mean, how many cars have you said you've been through a ton of cars? How many cars have you had in your years that you've been
um,
into cars?
I think 1 year alone, 1 year when I was about 20, 22, 21, I think I went through 17 cars in 1 year. As
Oh
in, I
wow.
just kept swapping them. I'd
Yeah.
swap, buy, or swap, or just do
Mhm.
like a straight swap.
Right, right.
Um, so how many cars I don't know.
You
I
just lost
actually
count.
I lost count, like, because it just like it got so bad that when you have like an insurance company or your insurance broker ringing you,
Yeah.
and you're just like because I think like one week I bought Type R Integra. Bought this Type R Integra, lovely white red Ricardo seats,
Nice, nice.
beautiful. It really was beautiful.
Hmm.
Now I'm not a big Honda head, and people that know me personally knows that, but I like anything that goes fast, and I was like, I'll get an Integra. So I end up getting the Integra, and about maybe 2 3 weeks later, a friend of mine was on to me, and he was like, I have a 20 valve. Do you want it? And I was like, how much you want for it? And he was like, swap me your Integra.
Oh wow.
So I was like, nah, it's not good enough. So he was
Right.
like, what do you want? So his brother had an 86 twin cam.
Okay, sweet.
Um, it was like Subaru blue,
Nice,
um,
nice.
run the mill, had everything. So,
Mhm.
um, so I said, see if your brother's open for a swap. So he did, and the brother said, yeah, no problem. So I said, we swap, and I think there was like a bit of cash my way. That was grand. He swapped me. So I had a twin cam. He got a really nice Integra. About 3 weeks later, the head gasket blew in the 86.
Okay.
Um, so fixed that, sold it on. I was like, okay. So I have like insurance company or my broker getting onto me going, will you let the ink fucking dry on it? And I'm like, yeah, actually, why I have you on the phone, I'm actually take that off the insurance. I have another car
Yeah,
coming.
that's crazy.
So, but over the last few years, I kind of slowed down.
Mhm.
Well, I slowed down, and I kind of realized uh, I really wanted to focus on track cars, and I wanted to focus my time. And if I'm going to make something fast to drive, I'd rather have it on the track than have it on the road.
Yeah.
And so I kind of went down the line of just getting something to go to work and a nice cheap daily. So
Okay.
the only thing is, it always has to be diesel. It has to be turbo. That's the only rule.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, yeah, as of now, what cars do you have in your garage in the yard?
So my daily is an E60 BMW 2008
Okay, sweet.
520D, white, and I'm very lucky to get that car. I was actually so over the moon when I got it. And then the my wife's daily is the Audi A5 Quattro,
Okay,
which is
nice.
a really fast car. Sometimes
Yeah,
scary fast,
yeah.
um, but a lovely car to drive.
Mhm. I bet.
Then we have the RX8. We have the Toyota Corolla, and we have the Skyline R33, which I know is
Okay.
your favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as for I know I've seen on in your page too, the RX8. Tell us a little bit about that build. What are your plans for it, and what do you have done to it too?
So the RX8 was bought very cheap, for very cheap money. Um, again, myself and Willie B, he's on, you'd see him on my videos.
Okay. Yeah.
We were brainstorming one night, and I was like, we need a content car
Mhm.
because all our cars we're working on, they're a slow process. We need something that
Mhm.
we can go to the track with. We need
Yeah.
something that we can have a bit of fun with, and then
Mhm.
also something that we can do a bit of work to that's not going to cost us a whole pile. Um, so my mate then kind of, yeah, threw out the idea to a few friends, and I was like, look, we're looking for a cheap rear wheel drive that's not a BMW.
Mhm.
And we have like X amount of funds, but we don't want to, So we let it out there to the universe, and a friend of mine rang me back, and he says, well, um, he says I might have something. So I went up looking, and it was an IS 200,
Okay.
but it was banged up, and I said, look, we'll forget about it. So I kind of pushed it to one side for a moment, and as I was coming away from that, looking at that car, a friend of mine rang me, and he says, "Oh, come here, are you still looking for race harnesses for the Skyline?"
Mhm.
And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, I have a set, and I have a set of seats. I'll sell them to you for, uh, I think it was like €150." So I was like, fuck yeah, I'll be down. You're actually on my way home. I'll pop into you. So did anyway. So we were down, we're chatting away. He's showing me his rally car. He's a lovely rally car. So he was showing me the
Mhm.
work he's done to it and stuff. And he was showing me another car out the back. And next I see just like all I could see was the back headlights through the grass. So the grass was like growing over the car.
Oh no.
And I was like, Jimmy? And he was like, yeah. I was like, what's that? And he was like, oh, that's the RX8. And I was like, you have an RX8? Why do you have an RX8? And he was like, I bought it for drifting, but I've no interest. Like, I put a new clutch into it and put it up there, and COVID hit, and
Yeah.
it's just sat there ever since. And I
Mhm.
was like, is it running? And he was like, I honestly don't know. So I was like, let's find out. So in with the strimmers, and we cut back the grass, and we kind of fight our way into it, open up the bonnet, put a fresh battery into it. Jumps in, turns the key, car starts up. So I kind of went, how much do you want? Because he was like, oh, I need to get rid of this car. He said, because it's just in the way, like it's just sitting here rotting away. Like, and I was like, how much you want for it? And he was like, oh, give me this. So right, fair enough. Rang Willie. I was like, right, we got a content car. It's rear wheel drive. It's cheap. If we smash it, then it's easy to fix because I know where there's a
Mhm.
load of them.
Yeah.
The only thing is, you're not gonna like the engine. And he was like, why? And I was like, I'm not telling you. You'll wait till it gets delivered. So he was plaguing me all week. He was like, what is it? Is it an SR20? Is it an RB? Is it, is it, what is it? Is it a Saab engine with a turbo conversion? I was just like, no, no, oh, no, no. And the day it was getting delivered, my friend Jimmy was bringing it down on a trailer, and I rang him. I was like, Jimmy's dropping the car over tonight. Come on over. And he was like, it's a fucking rotary, isn't it? And I was like, yeah. I, I like two of us know nothing about rotaries,
Right.
and we're just like, I was like, it'll be okay. It's okay, don't worry. It was like we got YouTube. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
So Jimmy dropped down the car. We actually have a video going up on YouTube on the channel soon of the day it arrived, all the way to where it stands now.
Okay. Cool.
So if your viewers want to go into that, they can check that out, and they'll see like how bad the car was. I think I sent. I don't know. Did I send you a picture of the first day we got it? And it was all just like grass and green and everything all over it.
Okay.
I can't
Yeah.
remember if I sent it to you, or
I don't think
maybe
so, but I'll
it
keep a
might have been one
lookout
that
for it. Yeah.
I think I've sent the picture to so many people. I forget who I've sent it to. Like, because some people don't believe. Like, I pulled it out of a ditch like 7 months ago. Like, he
Mhm.
was sitting in a field, and I pulled it out of the, the field, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so brought it down here, and it was like about maybe a month to Japfest at the end of the year.
Okay.
So I was like, we need to get the idea of this car out, that this is what we're planning to do, and kind of show people we're serious about what we say.
Yeah.
So I was like, it'd be a great brand car. So I rang up my designer who does all our merch and our stickers, and I was like, "Do you fancy stickering up a car on Friday?" And he was like, "Why? When's the show?" "That Sunday." And he was like, "What?" Because I was just like, we had gone, like, I got the car, I had a few weeks, I didn't totally forgot about Japfest. Like I was like, we're not putting the car in, and then we are putting the car in.
Hmm.
So then, so we have the Friday of Japfest. I took the day off work, and I washed the car, and I was like ringing him up, going, "So can you do up like really big stickers that say Outlaw Cars in gold, and they need to be this big and this high, this long?" And he was just like, "Are you serious, Dahi? Like, really? I'm really, really busy." And I was like, "Gavin, it's really important." So Gavin is like one of the best guys, um, like we've ever taken on board. He does all our merch and he done our designs for the crest and everything. And he's so cool. Like you're literally ringing him up on the morning and saying like, "Can you do these for me? I need them by tonight." And anyone else would say, "Go away, just no, go away." No, he's just like, "Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, you owe me." So he ends up coming over Friday night and like till about, oh, I can't remember, it was in the AM, and we were there stickering the whole car up. And then my friend Aaron came down and did the lights, did the yellow lights to kind of give it a bit of an aggressive look. And I went over, I robbed the spoiler off of the Skyline, and I was like, "We'll put that there and see what that looks like." And that got added, and
Hmm.
side skirts, and we sent it to Japfest with the wheels. We painted up the wheels with gold to go with the gold writing, and we sent it to Japfest, and we were like, "People are gonna hate this." Like that was you're going into the end of year show. All the pristine JDM cars are at it, and there's us
Right.
rolling in with a polished third for the lack of a better word, like. And we were like, everyone's gonna hate this. Great, this is gonna cause a storm, like. And we were so wrong. We actually got it so wrong. We couldn't believe it. Everyone was coming up to us. We set up our pitch. We had our banners up, and we had all the other cars there, and we had this car right in the middle. And next thing is, people are just like coming over, going, "That's class." You're like, "Thanks." Like
That's awesome.
you're kind of I don't know, maybe participating that they're gonna hate it, so you're prepared for it. But
Mm.
then when they
Yeah, yeah.
come back and they're like, "That's kind of cool." Like, what is that? It was like, "It's gonna be a track car." And they're like, "Okay, cool. Looking forward to seeing it." You're like, "Oh, right, okay." So
Surprising. Nice.
yeah, so it's just the car that keeps surprising us, like.
Hmm.
Um, so with that now, we got accepted into the spring invitational here in Ireland. So there's three big invitationals on or three times a year. Are you familiar with drift games?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're the
Hmm.
host. They host it, and Club Loose host it, and
Okay.
it's really a great weekend. It's exactly what it says on the tin. It's
Hmm.
drifting, partying, and
Nice.
drifting. And so I was like, okay, we're going to that. We're bringing the car to that. And it's like we can let our followers come to the track, and if they're there and they want a passenger spin, no problem.
Nice.
Let's because again, that's the other side of the story is we've been to track days, we've been in track days, and over here when you have the open track days, you pay
Hmm.
like $20 for a band, and
Yeah, that's how it is.
you go around and you ask, if you have a car and I have a band, I might come over and say, "Sorry, can I get a passenger spin?"
Hmm.
And you can say yes or no. It's up to you. You don't have to. So we were up at a track day and we seen these two. They were innocent teenagers, maybe 18, 19, and
Hmm.
they looked so shy, and they were going around and they were asking these other guys, "Can we go for a spin in your car?" And they were like, "No, no, no, no.
Mm.
And you're just like, and you could see they were like so deflated that you were just like,
Mhm.
that'll turn anyone off. That'll turn
Yeah.
anyone off.
Yeah.
Cars, that'll turn it. So I actually went over and I was like, come with me. I know a driver over here. Let's get you, and he brought them out, give them one lap each. They came back, they loved it. They absolutely, their eyes were
Yeah.
like that. They were like, that was great. I'm getting a car. And and I was glad that we could help there. So then it was just like,
Mhm.
the more I heard about that, when I shared the story on my TikTok live, I shared the story, and a lot of people came back and said, "Yeah, that's kind of why we don't go to track days." Because, and I was like, "Well, the RX8 is going to be there. If you have a band, you come over. I don't care. If you're following us, great.
Mhm.
If you're not following us, great. Get in. Let's bring you out. Let's have some fun. Let's make some memories. Let's just.
Yeah.
It's a fun getter.
Yeah.
It's never going to be a competition car.
Mhm.
Never say
Okay.
never. I
You never know.
You never know. Like
Yeah.
you could get an insult, you could get a message off me in like a month's time going, okay, RX8 is going full competition now. But no, I don't think so. I think it's just going to be a fun getter. It's going to be a practice car for me to get back into competition drifting, to get back into Gymkhana drifting. And I think that's the perfect little car to kind of just uh, kind of brush off the dust off my skills and see where it
Yeah.
goes. And of course,
Yeah, most definitely.
when you come over, we'll we'll, we'll get you behind the wheel.
Okay, for sure.
We'll see if you're there to drive.
That's that we'll see right there. That's awesome though. I mean, as for your other two cars, you said you still have the Corolla.
Yeah.
You want to give a little rundown of that, how it's going so far?
Um, it's actually going really good.
Okay.
So it's down to almost bare metal because I want to do a proper paint job on it because it's kind of had touch ups and they're really bad. So I want to strip that back. But like I said, I had to weld up the quarter panels.
Right. Right.
Because there was a lot like over here, a lot of our cars suffer rust due to the damp
Yeah.
weather.
Hmm.
Um, so I taught myself how to weld back in 2020. I bought a MIG welder, and uh, by the help of a lot of good friends of mine that are welders, I'm very lucky. I
Okay.
work
Nice.
in construction and I work in the mechanical side of things, so you get to meet a lot
Sweet.
of great, really good welders. I'd never say I'm a welder because
Hmm.
I yeah, like my welds are okay. They're not like some of these guys. They just work of art, but with
Hmm.
their help, they were able to kind of guide me through the right way of doing things and how to prep
All
it
right.
and all that, which
That's
again
awesome.
gives you uh, kind of gives you a bit of confidence, and it's kind of like I did that. I didn't send it
Mhm.
off to. Do you know that I'm kind of this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
I have to try it, and if I fail, that's okay. I tried it.
Hmm.
So
That's good. Yeah.
so we did the quarter panels. I had a nervous breakdown doing that because I took I took like a couple of days off work, got these quarter panels
Mhm.
made up in Lithuania to fit the Corolla, perfect mold, and I went off and I cut a big hole in the Corolla, and then
Okay.
I rang my dad and I was just like, "Can you talk?" And he was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And I was like, "I put a big hole in the car, and I don't know if I can fix it." And he was just like, "All right, calm down, go have a coffee." And just walk away for an hour,
Yeah.
chill out, you know, gather your thoughts and see where you go from
Hmm.
there. And he was like, look, you always put your mind to something, you'll do it. Just take your time. So
Hmm.
I think I spent 12 hours slowly tacking away, and I'd
Good. Yeah.
stop and I'd look at it and I'd be like, okay, okay, we're doing okay. And
Yeah. Yeah.
once you do the first side, the second side is a whole lot better. And then I had to rebuild the whole sill, which again, that was a learning curve. Um, but I loved it. Then I bought new alloys for it, so brand new alloy wheels, um, like new Jap racing rims, and I think I bugged my wife for about 2 years. I had several different sets, and I'd bring them up on the phone, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I like one week I like these ones, and watching them," and she's just like, "I don't care, buy a set."
Yeah.
Um, and then the biggest thing over here for the Corollas, so there's on the back, eh, there's the backlights, and then where the number plate sits, there's like an
Yeah.
alcove.
Hmm.
In Japan, there's a boot door reflector that sits into that
Okay.
gap, and then
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
your little number plate holder. They're as rare as hen's teeth over here. I mean,
Really?
for that big of a plastic, that wide, I've seen lads pay €400 for 'em, and I'm like,
Oh wow.
not paying it. I don't
Yeah.
care. I'll happily give someone €100 for 'em, but I will not be paying any more than that.
Hmm.
And back in 2018, 2019, I put up a post on a group page going, has anyone got boot door reflectors? It's the only last thing I need. Has anyone got them? Nothing. And in
Wow.
2020, in the middle of COVID and the lockdowns, a guy messaged me and he says, were you looking for boot door reflectors? And I went, yeah. And he goes, I have a set here. I was cleaning out my shed. I have a
Hmm.
set. Do you want them? And I was like, yeah. How much do you want for them? And he was like, give me €80. They're yours. If you can come down and get them today. Because if you don't get them
Yeah.
today, I'm putting them in the fire. So
Hmm.
got up. I was like, we're going. She's like, where are we going? I was like, we're going to I can't remember. It was like somewhere. It was like 2.5 hour drive to get to where he was,
Oh wow.
and you're in the middle of COVID, so there was lockdowns,
Yeah.
there was cops
Hmm.
everywhere, checkpoints and everything. But she was with an outlaw, so it was okay. We're gonna do outlaw things. We're gonna go back roads. You know yourself. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do what we gotta do. So um, made it down to him, and I ended up buying that, and I bought side skirts and backlights, and
Oh
he
nice.
actually had like a couple of small other bits that were great. So
Okay.
I had them, so I was like, great. So I had the kit, the 20 valve kit. I had the top spoiler. I was like, okay. So from the outside, this car is going to look like a 20 valve FX GTFX 20
Hmm.
valve Corolla, but it's going to have a diesel engine. It has a diesel engine. That's the difference. So
That's yeah. That's sick.
I love to get a black top 1.6 20 valve black top and put it into it and make it a proper 20 valve.
Yeah.
But again, you're not going to get like there's. I think the last time I priced the engine, it was like 4 grand, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, no. So then now I have this kind of thing in my head where I want to have it on the outside looking like a 20 valve Jap import, and when you start it up, it's a ducted diesel, and everyone's just like,
That's gonna
oh,
be sick.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Again, it's something that turns heads. It turns,
Yeah. Something different at the end of the day, right
and
there.
it's an
That's
icebreaker.
awesome.
It's an absolute
Hmm.
icebreaker. So,
Yeah.
like
Definitely.
I've gone to the point of where over here we have indicators on the wings,
Okay.
and when the Jap 20 valves came into Ireland or anywhere, they don't have them
Hmm.
on the wings. They actually have them in the headlights. So I have the Jap
Oh.
headlights. I've
Okay.
welded up the little square and flubbed
Yeah.
that all out. So that's gone now. That's eliminated.
Nice.
So Um, and then there was the cup holders, which is like again too expensive over here. And a guy
Hmm.
in the UK will message me looking for stickers for outlaw stickers, and
Hmm.
we got chatting about cars, and we got chatting about he had Corollas, I had Corollas, he had a Skyline, I have a Skyline, and we were, kind of, have you done this, have you done that? So he was like, are you looking for anything for the Corolla? And I was like, actually, I'm looking for cup holders. Have you got them? And he was like, I might do. So I traded him a sticker for a cup holder, and they're the ones that,
Well.
yeah, so they fit exactly in. There's a place for them by Toyota
Yeah.
that fit in. So
Hmm.
there was guys here selling them for like 120, €140, and
Oh wow.
I got them for the price of a sticker.
Of a sticker.
Of a sticker,
That's awesome.
and I met again. I met another great friend in the UK. Then,
Yeah. That's
um,
cool.
and we've I think we've to date the only time he ever paid for parts, or I haven't paid him for parts ever. The only time he ever paid for parts was about 6 months ago. He was looking for Skyline arms, and I was like, I have a set, but I'm not trading them for anything because we normally trade
Hmm.
parts for
Yeah.
parts. And I was like, you have nothing I want, but I need cash. And he was like, I said, I'll do you a deal. So he was like, you broke the deal. And I was like, why? And he was like, we've never swapped cash. We've never transacted cash ever. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of funny.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
I mean, yeah,
that's the
that's
Corolla.
cool.
So hopefully the Corolla should. I say it every year. I say it every year. I've been saying it for 4 years now. The Corolla should be ready for the end of this year.
Okay.
But I'm kind of at that point where it's uh, I don't know will it ever be finished because it's just something I'll keep changing something on it every
Yeah,
time.
I
Um,
see.
but I would like to have it finished this year. I definitely I definitely like to have it finished by next year, and that I can
Mhm.
just enjoy it. I can have it all together. I can go to car shows
Yeah, 100%.
and especially if, like I said, if you come over, then I can show you. I can go, look, I done this.
I'll be waiting for it for sure.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
so that's pretty much yeah. So that's the Corolla. That's the Corolla build.
Cool. And then yeah, last car you have was the R33, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I have another story about that. And I don't think anyone really believe I've had three R33 Skylines in my life.
Oh wow. Okay.
Two of them I didn't pay €1,000 for.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I paid under €1,000. So
That's wild.
my first R33 was a blue one, and I bought it as a shell. It had a cage in it, and the
Okay.
plan was to
Nice.
buy it and uh, build it into a drift car. So I was like, I have the shell, I'll buy the engine, I'll buy the running gear, we'll put it all
Mhm.
together, and there you go.
Yeah.
Um, that didn't materialize. So just at the time, funds and if I believe so, the chassis legs and all the way back the floor pans were actually really bad. Someone had done like a horrible paint job on them to make them look okay, but they were like really bad rust.
Mm.
So I was like, no, you know,
Yeah.
cut it up for parts, cut it up. I
Right.
actually still have bits of it um, in my shed, in my garage, um,
Hmm.
that that I keep in case I need them. Like the doors,
Yeah.
quarter panels were good, stuff like that.
Okay. Sweet.
So then the next one is the purple one, which was originally silver,
Mm.
and that was a non-turbo. So she was NA, 2 liter NA, and I bought that up the country for €750.
Oh wow.
Driving, running and driving, and me and one of my best pals. I 2015 I bought that car. So I rang him. I was like, I found a Skyline. It's non-turbo. I can turbo it. I just need to get this car. I just at that time in my life I was like, I need to buy this car. And he was like, actually, you can buy something better. You can buy something with a turbo engine. I was like, I don't want to. I want to buy this car because
Hmm.
I want to build a fully functioning pro spec car.
Right.
And he was like, okay, let's go up and have a look at it and see how bad it is. And if it's really bad, we're walking away from it. If it's any bit good, we'll do a deal. So went up to this guy, John was his name, lovely guy. Brought us out, showed us it. It had one dent on the quarter panel, nothing major, but everything else was pretty much there. So drove it down the road, went down to the crossroads, did a couple of rings in it. Car went around, took it up and down the road, and I mean, I was like bouncing it off the limiter, going through the gears, really kind of trying to find a reason not to buy the car. Like my friend was there,
Right.
like trying everything for me not to buy the car because he wanted me to buy something totally more expensive, and I was just like, I don't want that. That's just more problems.
Yeah.
Um, but we ended up like really. I was like, I know, I want this car. Yeah, this car is actually pretty cool. And the funny thing about it was when we got back to your man's house, so like we were flying up and down his road, a nice quiet road. We're doing rings one side, we're going up to the other side of the road, we're doing rings up there. We're coming back down. We're fucking pulling the handbrake, sliding it side to side, fishtailing it, doing trying to do burnouts. Again, it was non-turbo, so it didn't have much power.
Right,
Um,
right.
but just having fun, and it really
Mhm.
made me laugh. It really made me just. I was just a kid again. I was that 15-year-old kid flying around the field again. And I was just like, yeah, this car makes me feel good. I want this car. So we
Mhm.
came back and we pulled the car in around the back of his house, and we were coming out and we were chatting away and we're having coffee and we're chatting away and we're kind of haggling out the deal as we're chatting, and creeps by the house is a police car. Creeps past the
Oh,
house, drives up the road, and turns and drives back down the road again and goes off. And the seller goes, I'm living here 15 years. I have never ever seen the guards go up and down this road. You're here
oh no.
about a half an hour, and I have guards creeping up and down my road. And I was like, and again, I think that car, that time, after setting up Outlaw, and I was like, yeah, that car's Outlaw. That car's kind of, yeah, like again, I was just attracted to it. So I was like, I have a good feeling. So we bought the car there and then, brought the car down like a week later. So it was silver. I always had this kind of vision in my head. I kind of wanted uh, the Tonga kind of style, the Japanese mountain drifters. They kind of,
Okay.
as you know, they go
Yeah.
with the blend of purple, pink, fluorescent
Mhm.
colors with fluorescent
All the
wheels.
bright colors.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So again, taught myself like I always spray stuff with rattle cans. I've always done like little car parts with rattle cans and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like pulled it into the shed, and I was there beside the co-founder of Outlaw, Carl, and I was like, he's like, right, what's the story? And I was like, we're going drifting this car, and he was like, okay. Are we doing anything else? And I was like, yeah, we're going paint. I'm going painting it. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm going painting it. So he was like, can you? I was like, I don't know. There's a compressor there. Let's find out. So
Yeah.
spent maybe what 2 months sanding, blocking it down, sanding it, bit of filler here, bit of filler there, sanding it, blocking it away down. Um, kind of love the process of it because you have a car that's one color, and then
Mhm.
you're sanding it down, and it's this bare. Uh, it's no color, it's no makeup, no nothing. It's bare
Yeah.
image, and
Mhm.
around the same time is when I first met my wife. So we just met at the time. So I was kind of showing off to her, like, oh no, I'm a car builder.
Yeah.
and, so we just started going out at the time, and one of our first kind of things we did was she sanded the car down with me. So
Nice.
so she sanded down one side and I was sanding down the other. She was doing a horrible job, she said. Like she thinks she was doing a horrible job. She actually did an okay job. Um,
Really.
but like she see me, like I was going really fast, and I was out with the electric sander, and then I was out with the block again, and I was sanding away and everything. She did a whole door on the passenger
Mhm.
side, and it was perfect. And we wet sanded it down, and I was like, grand. So I was like, okay, we'll prime this now. So I primed it, and I left it sit for a week, and I had to go away working up the country. And I came home like a week later, and I was like, right, I'm gonna do one more wet sand to that car, and then I ready for color.
Yeah.
Opened up the shed door, and I was absolutely blown away because the birds had got into the shed and nested in the shed. So then
Oh no.
this was around maybe April, May. So there was baby birds inside in the shed, and of course they just fly around in loops until they find their way
Right.
out. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had bird crapped all over the car.
Oh
Every
no.
inch of it, everywhere was just covered. I was like,
Mhm.
close the doors. It was like for like about a month. And my friend Carl came over, and he was like, where's the skyline? I was like, it's in the shed. And he was like, what's wrong? I was like, birds crapped all over it. He was like, what? I was like, birds crapped all over it. It's, I have to sand it all back. It's going to take me ages to get that. And he was like, okay, how about we do 2 hours every evening after work? I was like, what? He was like, I'll come over. We'll do 2 hours after work every evening. You do one side, I'll do the other side. I'll fill in the dent on the quarter panel. We'll get it. So he kind of drove me to it. So he come over after work.
Mhm.
I'd land in. This is like 6 in the evening here. I wouldn't even come into the house. I would get a coffee at the filling station at the top of my road, just so I don't
Okay.
have to come into the house. Because if I come into the house and I
Yeah.
sat down, I'm doing
Mhm.
nothing.
Yeah.
Out to the shed. I'm sanding. Music's on. He's there. We're chilling. We're having the crack. Um, we're making a few videos that are like, if you really go back far on Facebook, you'll actually see some of our videos. Where we were in the shed and the whole lot. And yeah, we got it primed, and July, that was around maybe June, and July came and we had really hot weather, and I was
Mm.
kind of going, right, we this is the perfect time. The shed was really warm. Went in, mixed up my colours, shot it down, and my mate Carl was on to me. He was like, today's the day. We'll spray the car. We'll spray the car. And he comes over, and he comes over. I'm after putting in the first coat of the colour, and I'm just ready to do another flash, another
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
coat, like. And he
Mhm.
was like, "Come out," and I'm there like looking like your man out of Breaking Bad with the suit on,
Yeah.
the respirator, and I'm just like, "Come and see, come and see the car." And he like comes in, and I had the whole shed like plastic downed, and he just went in. He went, "That looks really cool." So he never knew the color, so the color was purple, and he was
Mhm.
just like, "That's really really cool." I was like, "Yeah." So we did that, and then we were getting ready for Jap Fest. So he was like, "What color wheels are you going with?" And I was like, "Oh, like a fluorescent color. Let's go big. Let's go fluorescent." So he goes, "I'll take care of that." So I said, "No problem." So he goes, "Get me the paint and I'll paint it for you." And I said, "Cool." So I ended up wanting to go with fluorescent yellow because yellow off of the
Mm.
purple really blend well,
Yeah. Yeah.
the vision in my head. So I ended up picking up green for some reason. Don't know why. And we ended up priming the wheels in a grey primer. So then when you put down the green,
Mm.
it really dulls down. So
Yeah.
by the time we realised our mistake, it was like Jaffest was coming, literally like
Mhm.
around the corner. We didn't have time to. We'd so many. We had to get the kit back on, front end back on, paint the bonnet, paint the boot door, put the seats in, and it was just like
Mhm.
we don't have time. So yeah, it went to Jatfest, purple on dark green wheels,
Okay.
which I kind of liked. I didn't like overly like it, but it was
Yeah.
kind of cool. So we turboed. So that was a non-turbo engine. We ended up trying to turbo it, and we broke the engine. It just, yeah, like it
Oh
was single
no.
cam. Didn't like
Yeah.
liked it for all of about maybe a day or two, and then the engine decided to leave the conversation and
Mm.
went side exit. So kind of pulled that to the corner. Um, kind of started. I was focusing on work at the time then, so there was maybe about a year where um, I was just looking after the daily cars and not really doing anything else with anything like. And the Skyline sat in the corner, and I was like, uh, I think one evening I just sat down and I was like, I'm gonna get rid of that car. I was
Mm.
talking to my father actually, my dad, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of the Skyline. Like, I just I haven't touched it. And he was like, if you get rid of that car, I ain't listening to you. I don't care. I don't want to hear about that car. If you see someone else drive it or drift it or track it, I don't want to see or hear about it. So he was like, go do something about it. Just, you know, I just do it. Like, so it was like, Okay. So put out the word. I was looking for, so I said, this is the time I'm going to do an uh, RB25 swap into it.
Okay,
So
nice.
make it a full turbo, make it the full
Mhm.
GTST. And so put the word out. Again, out to the universe, out to whoever was listening. And a good drifter, a very, very good competition drifter, and a very good friend of mine, Kieran Casey, um, rang me and he was like, you looking for an RB?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you got?" "I have an RB here. Yeah, yeah. Um, 2.5 grand." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what they were kind of. That's what the engines on their own were making at the time." So I was like,
Right, yeah.
"Okay." And I was like, "I have an RB 20 box. Yeah." And then all I have to do is get the running gear, but the running gear I have, I can make work for now, and figure out that
Yeah.
we'll figure out as we go along. So land over to his like 3 days later to look at the engine, make sure it's turning, it's not seized or anything like that.
Mhm.
Everything works out grand. So I kind of look underneath and it's like all the running gear's all adjustable. And I'm like, I wonder how much extra for that. So I was like, yeah, look, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll take the engine out. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, yeah, because this was in another Skyline R33 chassis
Okay.
that was really bad. It had this really bad green color on it, like horrible green and gold inside for some reason, with like an exhaust about this high coming off the
Uh,
turbo. Um, it just looked horrendous in every
no.
way. And he was like, what do you mean you come back tomorrow? I was like, come back tomorrow. We'll take out the engine. Is the gearbox coming with it? And he was like, Dahi, the whole car is 2.5 grand. I was like, what? He was like, yeah. I
Oh.
was like, and I kind of looked at Carl and I was like, he was like, yeah, the whole car is 2.5 grand. I was like, okay.
What?
I was like, oh, okay. I literally had to like walk away for a minute. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, he's conning me. He's, he's messing with me. So I came back and I was like, say it again. And he was like, the whole car, bar the wheels. The wheels are like, I think the wheels are like these big 18-inch chrome something. Work
Okay.
visors. They were actually works wheels. And he was,
Really? Okay.
yeah, he was like, they're not for sale. They're no, they are. If you have 1,500 euros, they're yours. I was
Mhm.
like, no, I don't. But the whole car is mine. Okay, cool, cool. Um, so yeah, grand. I was like, do you know what? Can you trade it over to mine tomorrow? And I was like, I'll have 2.5 grand, and I'll give you 100 euros for towing it. And he was like, yep, cool. I'll be over tomorrow 6 o'clock. Like, excellent.
Wow.
So, like, rang my wife. She was working nights at the time, and I was like, okay, I got an RB. And she was like, okay, yeah, how much is it? 2.5 grand. It's coming tomorrow. And she was like, okay, right. Well, she goes with the flow. She
Yeah.
was like, okay, this is where we're going. So, so I stripped that car, transferred all the running gear to the purple one, and did a bit of engine work to the car just to see, make sure everything was okay.
Mhm.
Me and Willie put the engine in. Then we had problems with the electrics, and then Willie decided, do you know what? Because he's an auto electrician, he was like, I just want to take out all the wiring, and I want to customize a race loom just for this car. So we were like, okay. Cut the boot floor out of it, put a fuel cell in, dropped the old fuel tank, took that out, race fuel, um, ran the lines, um, had that in it, and then we did the seats, and then I did the roll cage, which I actually have Saito's old R33 came to Ireland back in 2012, 2011 for a
Okay.
big
Yeah.
event. Actually, Robbie Gennaro was actually driving it, but it's it's tagged for Formula D in Japan, and it's
Okay.
ITT, so it's a bolt-in cage.
Nice.
And uh, again, another good person I know, Dylan Garvey, another brilliant drifter.
Mhm.
Uh, I think I was like, here was it 2021, and I says to my wife, I was like, if I could get a bolt-in cage, because to get a cage welded up here is like 3 grand, and I was like, I don't have
Yeah.
3 grand right now, but down the line I will. But if I could get a
Mm.
bolting cage that I could get the car to track and it would pass track inspection,
Yeah, yeah.
um, I don't know. Is it asking the universe for something and it just provides it? Like an hour later, I'm having a cup of coffee, scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, looking for something totally else, and boom, ad comes up. Dylan Garvey, look, selling the cage, €500, like on the phone to me straight away, going, "I'll be there in 2 hours." So
Wow.
yeah, so the car kind of went from that. Then got a carbon fiber hood for it. I actually swapped Spec 2 seat out of the other Skyline, the standard passenger
Okay.
seat, for
Yeah.
the carbon fiber bonnet that I have.
Okay.
So this again, like the car just has so many stories. Like it just
Yeah.
um guy up for swapping standard parts, Skyline parts. So I was after taking like the whole dash out of mine,
Hmm.
all the plastics, all the trims, because you can't have them in the if you're drifting, you can't have them in case of a fire. So I have
Yeah.
all these trims and everything. So this guy's like, I'm up for a swap. I have an R33 bonnet. I have this, and this. So I was really interested in the bonnet. So I was like, what do you want for the bonnet? And he was like, I was like, what cash price do you want? And he was like, look, it's got a crack on it. I don't feel comfortable cash selling it.
Mm.
Have you anything like parts wise? I was like, what are you looking for? So, because I had array of parts there. So he was like, "Oh, have you a passenger seat for a Spec 2?" And I was like, "What's the design?" So he sent me on the design, and I goes, "Oh, I actually do. I'm about to burn it." And he went, "What?" I was like, "Oh, it's been sitting there for like 6 months in my way. I'm about to throw it on the fire in about 10 minutes time." And he was like, "No." So he was like, "I'll meet you halfway." So traded him the seat. I got a bonnet. Um, then Echo Racing came on board. In the UK. They supply a lot of car parts. They helped me in 2020 and 2021 with a few parts, supplying us with AE fittings and lines. Group D then here in Ireland, they're a big, well, they're a Group D is Darren McNamara. He used to drift in FD back in the early half of FD
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Falcon. So he has his own race shop here, builds cars and
Nice.
stuff.
That's awesome.
So he's not far away, so it's really great. I can go down and get parts whenever I want. Um, so after we got the engine in, we got the engine running, and with the, you know, with a few exceptions, and I said, right, do you know what? I want to build this into a pro car. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a bit of funding, um, but I want to do it right. And my literally my head mechanic or my head auto electrician, my technician, my guru when it comes to any of the cars, Willie was just like, yeah, okay, whatever the process is, let's do it. And so, uh, yeah, right now that engine's coming out. It's going down to Group D, down to Darren and his team. It's going to be getting opened up, all new valves, all new pistons, some
Nice.
machine work done, gearboxes going off up to someone else up the country. That's getting taken apart, checked, and all redone. Once I get some funding together to get um, the the wiring loom for it, we're going to go with Darren's brand is the ECU Master. So we're going to do a whole loom, brand new loom that reads everything, tells us everything we need to know. Um,
Sweet.
so I'm hoping by 2025 to enter into Gymkhana on Gymkhana tour in Europe, um, and the Skyline will be the car we'll be using. So the whole idea is make it reliable, um,
Mhm.
make it reliable, make it fast, make it fun, and make it looking good.
What's up, everybody? Thank you all for listening to today's episode with Outlaw Carz. Make sure you guys go check him out on Instagram and YouTube. His Instagram would be Outlaw Carz with the Z at the end. But stay tuned for part 2, which is going to come out next week on Friday at 9 a.m. There's gonna be part 2 where we dive a little bit deeper into the car community in Europe and everything like that. So it's gonna be a really good part 2. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for listening, and don't forget to dare to drive.